All right, guys, so we're in the museum here. This is beautiful. You have a nice 3D map of Dominica. Actually shows the terrain. I don't think the video does it justice to show the projections, but again, just looking at these images, I don't know how old they are, but I read up on the discovery of the boiling lake. I think it was done by a physician, British physician, and someone else. I forgot what year it was, but it was a good read. And again, a lot of historic information here. Obviously Dominica is very volcanic, and it shows you the volcanic centers where they are. This is this must be Martinique, maybe Montpellier erupting, because that actually affected Dominica back, I want to say 1905 or 1907. All right, shoreline protection. Give you a nice tour of the museum. When you come to Roseau, right off the jetty, the wharf where the tourist boat comes, right across is the museum. So make sure that you take the time to visit. You know, obviously Dominica is rich in its history, especially the Kalinago history. All right, and this is a dugout canoe. This is made from a whole tree. It's an art. I hope it's still an art today in terms of how these are built. And I can tell you that they came from Mesoamerica. They came, you know, down through South America and into the islands on these canoes. All right, that's how they populated the islands many years ago. And they're the original people, right? The Kalinago, the Taínos, right? And again, you have to give them that respect in terms of the proper, you know, naming of you know, you can't say Caribs and Arawaks. And these were names given by Christopher Columbus, who did not really understand these people and took people's kindness and took advantage of it. But here you could see the archaic tools, right? The axes and things, how they lived, the spears, right? A lot of that was actually used for fishing. What we call the pipwi, we used to create those, right? Put the logs together, tie them up and nail them together, and then you're out on the ocean. So this is a very good depiction of just that. A lot of pottery has been found. This is what I was talking about when they came down from the Orinoco River, right, out of the base of Venezuela and Guyana and out into the islands, right? There was also a migration out of Mexico, the Yucatan Peninsula, into places like Cuba. So again, a very deep history there that we all should know about. I'll be back. And as I was talking about earlier, the last group of people, they did not call themselves Carib. They called themselves Kalinago for the men, Califuna or Carifuna for the women, right? So very sustainable group, right? And you have here in the Dominica Museum a great illustration of just that. And again, I'm happy I came to this museum so I can understand a little more of my history, right? This is a painting from 1773, right? Creole scene in Dominica. This one is also from 1773, Dominica, right? You can see the traditional wear here. But as you turn over, right, Christopher Columbus, right, told quite a tale. And if you want to read a book, you could read that of Bartolomé de las Casas' book about what transpired in that time, and he gave an accurate documentation of what he saw and what the guys like Columbus did. All right, more about the Kalinago people, right, and very deep history, and that's how we're connected deeply to St. Vincent is through that Calinago Garifuna routes. So as we walk through this museum here, this is the area that I was earlier in the old market, where they would sell slaves, hang slaves, right? And all these other activities right here in the Roseau Old Market. And this is the same general area. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you these pictures, take a very close look, especially at this one, right? And I'm going to look out the window and I'm going to show you that red, well, I don't know what it's called, but this is the same courtyard as you see depicted in this picture, right? So history right outside the window. And as we're moving along, you know, you get a feel of the history here. Wow. And this is where we came from, the coast of Africa. Ashanti, Fanti, Bini, Dida, Kra, Dagumba, Dahomey, I've heard of that, Yoruba obviously, Oyo, Bobo, Dogon, the Dogon tribe, right? Marinke, Mandinka, right? Slaves were taken from all of these parts of Africa. And again, I think this is a very great tour. This is a map of 1776, all right? And it tells you all the different areas. Mon Anglais, Mon Espanol. Let me go down to where I'm from, Point Michel. Or I've always told people that. It was called Dalrymple's Point at one point, right here. Point Michel. And you see Scott's Head, all right? Kashaku, okay? So again, I hope this video gives you an idea of what the Dominica Museum tells. So don't just pass it by, come on up. There's a minimal fee of $8 EC, but it's worth it. So you come up and you take a look. I remember Roseau Estate. There was one in Point Michel, right? There it is. And Union Estate. And then a Bois Cotlet, plantation of Soufriere, right? I remember the lime plantations back in the day. So there you have it, guys, a very great representation of the history of Dominica here in Roseau. All right, as we come around, more history, just so much more. I want to end right here. This is the political wall, right? Rosie Douglas, PJ Scarrett, Pierre Charles. They got O.J. Serafin, Mamo Eugenia Charles, Eoli Blanc, Edison James, right? Pierrot. And it tells you a little bit about Dominica politics right here in terms of the prime ministers. And again, literature. Dominica is actually rich in that history. And I will end here as we get to the door. Jean Rees, obviously one of the most powerful authors, was from Dominica, and also Phyllis Shand Alfrey, okay? So The Wild Sagas of Sea and other books like that link back to Dominica. It was great having you on this tour with me. All right, God bless Dominica. So, you know, I always talk about Mahon, and you know, I say I'm a modern day neg Mahon. What that means is I don't conform to the idea of obstruction and oppression and suppression. We move freely and positively in the sense of self-determination as prescribed and stated by Marcus Mosiah Garvey. And this here is a depiction of Maroon activity in Dominica, right? The runaway slaves. And it was very, very important that they fought for their freedom, and not just fighting for their freedom, but making sure that they stayed free, and they fought for that. these are areas that you would find runaway slaves, and you see the names where they were, Jacko, Bala, right in the interior. If you go down, this is towards Grand Bay, right? This is in the Berkwah area, Sandy, Moko, Hall, Juba, we heard about, right? Mabuyan, Congare, we heard of that. Cicero was more in the heights of Roseau here. And again, you get Farcelle. So a lot of history here. And I'm happy I got to see this wall coming from me, the one and only Negmaon. Long live the Kalinago. Long live the Negmaon.